Hallelujah.
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 Hallelujah. Oh, I started moving and my screen looked like it froze on me. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
And happy Hanukkah. We're working on it. We're grateful for to be here today. Hallelujah. Hopefully you had a good I almost said that the Xmas day. Hopefully, you enjoyed your time with your family because most of us have to endure the light afflictions. But I'm grateful and honored and privileged to spend a minute with you today. Let me do something here and kill this light behind me because I'm getting glare. Slide that over like that. There we go.
I'm not getting you live. I don't know if they
It says I'm live.
Okay. It's on Facebook.
No, I'm live on YouTube.
Okay, that's what I'm on YouTube, but it's not showing up.
No, it says I'm live. I've been live for a minute and 30 seconds now.
They probably have a delay.
Maybe there's a delay. I don't know. I'd like to know that somebody can anybody is any no one's online here yet. We'll give it a few minutes. So see if there's anybody who wants to join us. But uh, the day is a day that this week has been a week that we've been um, pondering and thinking about Hanukkah, trying not to think about Xmas stuff and focus on the holy day and not the holiday. So somebody just came on live. So in doing that, I was reading through the book of Maccabees, and there's like a lot. There's a lot in there, but there's a lot of sadness, a lot of blood and guts, a lot of blood being shed, and I really like. I know that this is a time that we should be celebrating. So it's hard to celebrate when you see nothing but blood being shed. After the battle is over is one thing, but while you're looking at it, you're like, man, this is rough. So what I want to do is talk about just briefly a few minutes about Maccabee and some of his beloved brethren that had to endure these inflictions. So paint the picture. You have Greeks um, taking over your taking over your land. It's funny if you can't understand this, go to Jerusalem, and you'll see it. It's like groups of people, but they're not all. So you have some people that feel like they're captive there, and you got some people that are ruling over top of them. If you see the people that are living in Palestine, they almost are being subjected to Israel, and they're constantly fighting back and forth, and they can only do but so much, and then they realize that they don't really have the power to fight them physically. They throw rocks, they shoot back with guns. It's a big difference. They throw rocks, they drop bombs. So this is the same scenario, something similar, where you have the Greeks ruling over Israel, desecrating the temple. It's really kind of doing whatever they wanted to do. And then you had Malachi, Maccabees coming up, growing up, and becoming a warrior for Israel. So we're in the midst of this now. We went through the first book, and we saw how they had. If you read through it, you'll see that uh, the time that we talked about where they actually had the candle, the menorah, and it lit for 8 days. They only had enough oil for one, but and that was the big thing that everybody talks about. But there's other things to talk about. So I want to talk about the seven brothers. I think I entitled this "The Seven Brothers," right? Because when we read through it, you're going to see seven righteous brothers and their mom. She's a warrior too, and their mom. And just want you to get a feel of what's going on with these brothers. So let's go to Second Maccabees chapter 7. And it gets right into it. Like I'm looking at this, I'm like, oh, how do you start this message? This message is like I'm trying to think of a movie that starts out and it starts out and it's a most like disaster at the beginning before the movie gets started good. You're like, whoa, and this is how this movie's gonna start. Well, watch this. You with me, bro? All right. And it came to pass. Yeah, you like that? It's like, and once upon a time in Jerusalem, and it came to pass. Come,
It
read.
came to pass also that seven brethren with their mother were taken and compelled by the king against the Torah to taste swine's flesh, and were tormented with scourges and whips.
So we start right up off the bat, and I'll talk about it because it's in the book. I could have easily avoid this and go around and read something else, but I want to talk about this because it's a problem that we can't seem to get rid of. So at one time, Israel would not eat pig. They knew how evil it was. They would not touch it. Anything unclean. Never thought about it crossing their lips. Why, in the name of everything righteous, does he bring them before the assembly, his assembly, and force them to eat pig? Like force them to eat pig. If somebody, let's talk 2019, getting ready to close out. If somebody handcuffed you and whipped you, oh, maybe not even that much. If they just invited you to their house and put pig on the table, you'd be like, oh, look at those, look at that juicy, ooh, and you're ready to eat. Just the opposite from what I see here. These brothers were being whipped and scorned. Thank you. So read that again. This is the first verse. We haven't gone deep. Second Maccabees,
Second Maccabees chapter 7.
chapter 7. And the seven, and it came to pass. Read
It came to
again.
pass also that seven brethren with their mother were taken and compelled by the king against the Torah to taste swine's flesh.
Against the Torah. Against the Torah. The Torah has always taught us not to eat pig. So they knew enough to say, you're breaking God's law by eating pig. And so I'm going to force you to eat it. I haven't gone past one verse. I'm going to force you to eat it. I'm going to whip you. I'm going to beat you. We're having a family barbecue. And what happens at the family barbecue? Throwing down some ribs. What you having at the barbecue? I'm bringing the beer. What you got? Oh, don't worry about the meat. I got the meat. I went down to the store the other day. I got 3 racks of ribs, and no one's talking beef. We're talking pork. and we all indulge. Now, I can talk about it because I used to do it. Shame to me, but I used to do it. Used to cook it and would indulge in it, right? So now he's saying these 7 brothers said realize that this is against Torah. This is against the Torah, the word, the law, against the word, the book. All right. So we finally got past verse 1. Come on.
Taste swine's flesh and were tormented with scourges and whips. But one of them that spoke first said thus, what would you ask or learn of us? We are ready to die rather than to transgress the Torah of our fathers.
So the first brother jumps up and says, you know what? I don't know what you're trying to learn. What's the lesson you're going to get from this? But we refuse to transgress the law. Everybody knows what transgression is. Everybody knows what sin is, right? It's transgression, it's breaking the law. All right. I'm not going to spend a lot of time in Maccabees 2, but we're going to read through this. We only have 42 verses. So let's go.
Then the king being in a rage, commanded pans and cauldrons to be made hot, which forthwith being heated, he commanded to cut out the tongue of him that spoke first, and to cut off the utmost parts of his body, the rest of his brothers and his mother looking on.
Okay, so you see what he did, right? He cut out his tongue, and then he started cutting off limbs. Mom is checking this out. His 6 brothers are checking this out. They're all looking at this. This man heated up the pots and started cutting. He said, oh, so you want to be the one to talk? But we have people that want to be teachers but don't want the persecution that goes along with it. It gets better. I told you, soon as you open this chapter up and start reading it, it's like, oh, you just 3 verses and you just cut somebody. My wife hates violent films. She despises. If I turn on a movie with shooting, she leaves the room. Right? This movie, this is like one of those off the chain violent scenes. All I wanted you to do was eat pig. You refuse to eat pig, and you got something to say about it. Cut your tongue out. Cut your limbs off. And his brothers and sisters are all watching. I mean, his brothers and his mother's watching. All right, come on. 5.
Now when he was thus maimed in all his members, he commanded them, being yet alive, to be brought to the fire, and to be fried in the pan. And as the vapor of the pan was for a good space dispersed, they exhorted one another with the mother to die manfully, saying thus, Yahweh Elohim, look upon us, and in truth has comfort in us. As Moshe in his song, which witnessed to their faces, declared, saying, and he shall be comforted in his servants.
So he wasn't good enough, wasn't satisfied with cutting the limbs off. He wasn't satisfied with cutting his tongue out. He fried him alive. I'm telling you this. This is what the book says. I'm not creating something. Open it up and read along with us. All right. So they started praying. They still worshiping Yah. You see that? Come on. 7.
So when the first was dead after this number, they brought the second to make him a mocking stock. And when they had pulled off the skin of his head with the hair, they asked him, will you eat before you be punished?
They scalped him alive. They scalped him like the Indians do, right? They scalped him. Pulled his hair. All right. I don't need to get involved in graphic. It's already there. It's already graphic enough. Come on.
Will you eat before you be punished throughout every member of your body? But he answered in his own language and said, no. Wherefore, he also received the next torment in order as the former did.
Hold on there. This is saying the battery's down. Am I plugged in here? It should be behind. See if this
No,
plugs
it's
in.
not.
Okay, can you plug it in? Hold on there.
It's gonna come out.
Yes. Straighten the wall before it dies on me, man. Maybe too late.